Well, a recent dip in tourism is shaking up the Strip, and it's the casino dealers who are paying the price.
8 News Now reporter Nick Summers sharing how this downturn is affecting the people behind the table.
If you've been on social media at all recently, you've seen some version of the question, is Las Vegas dead? Here's a few that I found looking online. Nobody comes here. It's too expensive. Resort and parking fees are too high. And my personal favorite, Las Vegas is too expensive and it smells bad. So I reached out to some local experts to ask.
The lights are still bright, the fountains are still performing, but if you walk the Strip now, you'll feel right away that something is wrong. The crowds, the massive crowds that once made Vegas feel vibrant, are vanishing quickly, leaving behind empty tables and ghost towns. For years, this city offered one simple dream, that anyone could be somebody for one night. But in 2025, that dream is fracturing. Behind the champagne smiles, casino executives are now saying openly and almost proudly what everyone was fearing. This isn't just talk, but a new business model. Higher prices, tighter doors, fewer spots for the people who built this Strip.
And it's great that we have a team of experts tracking the tourism numbers here locally, courtesy our economics department over at UNLV. And one professor in particular doesn't like what he's seeing.
Because we have a lot of questions for him right now. For months, we've been really shining a light on tourism here in Las Vegas with how few people, I say few because it's still in the millions, but it is down. We're wondering, is it slowing?
And it leaves one question no neon sign can cover. What happens when the City of Luck determines it doesn't need the people who made it lucky anymore?
Seen numbers, $1.5 billion plus. I know last year was a little shy of that. I'd expect it to be another record.
He stated they were pushing out the lowest end. At first, people thought he had misspoken, but the reality is he hadn't. They had no idea this would quickly become the new business model. The next year, MGM's Bill Hornbuckle said the same thing, just in softer words. They were not pursuing budget travelers anymore. They were targeting quality customers. For them, that meant the wealthier ones.
If you don't have gamblers, right, you don't need as many dealers, let's say. You don't need as many tables open.
Las Vegas is known for its bright lights, big bets, and nonstop action, but right now things are quieter than usual. A recent dip in tourism is sending shockwaves through the Strip, and casino workers are feeling the hit firsthand.
Fontainebleau announced some layoffs.
But Vegas never became an empire by serving the elite. It was founded on cheap buffets, $5 blackjack, free drinks, and free parking. It was the one city in America where a truck driver, a teacher, and a tech exec could sit at the same table and be equals. That was the real magic.
Few that I found looking online. Nobody comes here. It's too expensive. Resort and parking fees are too high. And my personal favorite, Las Vegas is too expensive and it smells bad. So I reached out to some local experts to ask them, is Las Vegas really dead?
To make matters worse, they didn't just push out the lowest end. They pushed out their entire foundation. And as the Strip now looks deserted on weekdays and dealers wait for players who don't arrive, the price of that decision is finally coming due. If you ever walked the Strip when it still felt vibrant, hit subscribe because what's coming next will break your heart. Of wins, $9.7 million in losses.
Of wins, $99.7 million in losses. While only being able to take 90% of that effectively puts them out of business. And what we're doing with this legislation, which I believe is simply an unintended consequence, we are forcing these individuals to move offshore.
Stevens labels those levies phantom taxes because gamblers might end up paying taxes on money they never received. He also says some of his high-volume players have warned him that if this tax deduction isn't resolved, they will take their business elsewhere. Once Vegas offered a fantasy everyone could afford. You could get a motel room for $40, eat a prime rib dinner for $5, and still have cash left to pull a few slots. Today, that fantasy costs triple before you even hit the casino floor. Resort fees by themselves jumped over 11% this year, averaging more than $55 a night. Even budget hotels like Excalibur and Luxor charge $40 in fees plus another $20 to $20 just to park your car. You are literally paying to go lose money.
For the change, but says both parties need to cooperate to fix it.
I don't think anyone, Democrat or Republican, had any intent on hurting Las Vegas or for that matter, hurting the gaming industry in any sense. It's just that the way this developed, it will really hurt Vegas. It will really hurt. It will really hurt the gaming industry. And that's why this has to get fixed, because no one wants that.
It is not just a joke now. It has become a deterrent for a family of 4. What was once a weekend escape now costs thousands before the fun even begins. The Strip's own logic doesn't make sense. In 1999, a billboard advertised a $4.99 steak dinner. In 2025, that very same corner promotes a $30 cocktail.
Guerrero of Applied Analysis told me Las Vegas is experiencing a dip in visitation because of concerns over the economy and tariffs. But he says the city has seen much worse.
I got that same question when, when was opening the Mirage in 1989? Could we ever be able to do it? And then you and I remember what it was like during September 11th when Las Vegas was never going to bounce back. What about during the Great Recession when somebody wrote that Las Vegas was the nation's greatest ghost town in waiting, right? And then during the pandemic, we all did it. We all took that walk down the strip when nobody was there. It was unbelievably scary in terms of how are we going to bounce back? And yet still, here we are today. It's not how.
And now the city is truly starting to feel it. Visitor volume dropped 11% this June with 1.5 million fewer tourists just in the first half of the year. The Strip isn't empty because people just forgot about it. It's empty because the house changed the rules and the players left. Vegas didn't think anyone would notice, but everyone has. The Strip isn't empty by chance. It's empty by design. The data tells one story, but the faces tell a different one. Bartenders who once made their living from the Strip's energy now go home with half the tips they used to. Dealers shuffle cards for hours, lacking enough players to fill a table. Cab drivers circle the airport longer, waiting for passengers that don't show up. For those who built their lives on Vegas's constant energy, this silence is deafening.
When others admit the Las Vegas of 2025 is more costly than the city of yesteryear, when casinos offered cheap rooms and food to get people to gamble. The Las Vegas of today is built as much on experiences as it is on slots. James Reza, a Las Vegas native, journalist, and businessman, tells me the city has evolved, which can frustrate people with memories of the good old days.
Those places are gone. And there's an entire generation of people who think the Mirage represents old Vegas, and they're broken up because it's gone and going to be turned into the new version.
A waitress at the Flamingo mentions weekends still feel busy, but by Tuesday, it's like someone hits a switch. Her shifts are shorter, her tips are lighter, and the regulars who once came every few months have disappeared. It feels like we lost the middle, she adds. Local diners, t-shirt shops, and ticket vendors are fading as well. The gift stores that once depended on foot traffic now close well before midnight. The data supports this. Strip occupancy fell from 80% to 81%, with weekday rooms remaining half empty. Officials label it a temporary correction. Insiders whisper the real truth. It's a volume crash. Now, some layouts. We want those casinos to be very active, successful, and robust because that truly gives our break-in dealers an opportunity to transition, right? That's the goal. David Null, the managing director for SEG Dealer School, began as a dealer back in 1991. He mentions he's seen a drop in enrollment similar to what the industry experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've seen our enrollments drop. Interest in becoming a dealer. We really used to have a lot more people transition here from out of state and sort of hear about Vegas. You know the opportunity that was. When the very workers who serve the dream can no longer afford to live inside it, a city truly starts to eat itself. Vegas isn't just losing its tourists, it's losing the actual people who made the lights shine. If you believe Vegas forgot who built it, please comment. Bring the old Strip back. Let's just see how many people still remember. The numbers clearly tell the story. The billboards certainly won't. Behind the flashing lights and the glossy ads, the Strip is quietly bleeding out. In May 2025, gaming revenue fell by nearly 4%. Slot machines, long the backbone of casual gambling, dropped over 5%. Baccarat, once the absolute darling of the high roller crowd, plunged by 10%. But the actual red flag isn't found in the casino's ledgers. It's in where the money went instead. Vegas. The unemployment rate remains one of the very highest in the country. The leisure and hospitality industry, where the majority of the jobs are, has seen several peaks and valleys just over the last year. Tourism is the absolute lifeblood of Las Vegas, but lately, that critical lifeline has been thinning. From April to May, visitor numbers dropped nearly 6%, and the effects are clearly rippling through the industry. We're starting to see things like airline bookings and future hotel bookings starting to drop somewhat, both internationally and domestic. Meanwhile, outside the city limits, a quiet rebellion is clearly taking shape. Laughlin, that sleepy river town just 2 hours south, reported a 17% boost in its gaming revenue. Mesquite climbed nearly 10. The very same low-end gamblers that Vegas turned away have now become the economic engine for these smaller towns that still treat them like actual guests, not party poopers. But if anything signifies what Las Vegas is, it's truly reinvention, and that's what it keeps on doing constantly. And while the Strip has certainly grown more expensive over time, adding large concert venues, shopping malls, and high-end restaurants, there are still places that value-conscious customers can definitely go. Howard Stutz covers the gaming industry for the Nevada Independent. He tells me tourists are definitely getting off the Strip. Well, where? Guess where they're going, Red Rock Resort's Boyd Gaming Properties. They all did very well in the last quarter. It's a lot of locals because locals just don't go to the Strip and simply aren't going to pay the high prices down there. Say the out-of-town visitors from Southern California, they are now discovering some of the local property. And it is not just the physical brick-and-mortar competitors. Online gambling is absolutely exploding too. In July 2025 alone, digital casinos raked in $1,780 million, up more than 20% from the prior year. Players are now swapping expensive plane tickets for their phone screens. They can easily gamble from home, often get better odds, and completely skip the $55 resort fee and the $25 parking charge. Vegas mistakenly thought it could just price out the Riff Raff. Instead, it only pushed them toward a huge industry that never sleeps, never bills for parking, and never judges someone's bankroll. The very same people who once packed the Strip are now actively fueling its biggest competition. When all the virtual tables are full and the real ones sit completely empty, what does that really say about the city that once proudly called itself the capital of luck? The dip in tourism is fueling some of the social media skepticism and said if this blip continues past year's end, there could be much more cause for concern. But Reza also told me some of the Vegas hate was simply just for clicks. People are seeing all these things and they immediately want to jump into it. They desperately want to be part of the discussion. They want to say, I piled on. I mean, just look at the things that are happening in the news where people see something bad happening and they just want to pile into it. And I really think that's part of what we're hearing about and seeing. I think Las Vegas is going to be just fine. It always is. In fact, both James and Howard told me the solution is quite easy. Just get off of social media, which is probably very good advice. Somewhere in a corporate boardroom, someone truly thought they had it all figured out. Fewer visitors, much higher prices, and richer profits. It looks so clean on paper, luxury branding, total exclusivity, a velvet rope just for the elite. But Vegas was never really built for balance sheets. It was built on sheer noise chaos and massive volume. 10,000 wealthy gamblers will never replace the pure energy or the spending power of 100,000 middle-class dreamers. A half-empty $100 blackjack table doesn't make up for 10 $10 tables that are filled with laughter tips and repeat business. But we need gamblers. There are, shops and food and everything else to do, but we truly need those gamblers to come back. And those gamblers react to better values. Hotel occupancy rates have also declined, as we've been reporting, with a significant drop of 1% overall in April and an even larger decrease, specifically for the downtown hotels at 2.6%. Even the city's absolute crown jewels are now feeling the cold. Bellagio, Aria, and Wynn have all recently reported cooling demand coming from their most elite guests. Because here is the simple truth, the rich do not need Vegas. They can just as easily play in Monaco, Macau, or Singapore, where that exclusivity feels completely authentic, and total privacy is part of the entire package. Vegas desperately tried to reinvent itself as some kind of luxury playground, but it completely forgot it was already something far more powerful, the People's Casino. The irony here is absolutely brutal. In trying to escape the very chaos that actually made it famous, Vegas effectively cut out the very soul that kept it alive. We're talking about the showgirls, the slot players, the bus tours, and the retirees just chasing a little luck. They were never the real problem. They were always the heartbeat. Now the Strip is painfully learning what every single casino should already know. You just can't outsmart the math. When the entire middle class vanishes, even the rich will lose the very crowd that actually made them feel rich in the first place. The city that once ran purely on dreams is now running on the exact opposite. And the house might finally be losing. Looking into it this morning, she joins us live from the iconic Las Vegas. Welcome to Las Vegas sign this morning. That popular tourist destination. What are the numbers actually showing here, Alora? Well, as The Economist says, it really is this growing concern. So he is definitely seeing that specific decline. But we are going to get further down into those numbers. As you mentioned, Evan, right now, we're right here by the iconic Welcome to Las Vegas sign. Tourists from all over are making it their mission to come right here and grab a picture. But is that number of people truly dwindling down? Not everyone's ignoring the warning lights, however. Resorts World decided to take a gamble of its own. It completely dropped resort fees and then brought back free parking. The result of this, rooms filled up, occupancy climbed high, and the social media buzz returned almost instantly. For just a moment, it really felt like old Vegas all over again. Convention attendance then rose over 10% this May, proving that crowds absolutely will come back if the welcome feels genuine. The Sphere became a global landmark, pulling in tourists from Tokyo to Berlin. But beneath that impressive glow, the weekdays remain ghostly quiet. Cab lines continue to shrink. Dealers are seen playing solitaire while waiting for customers. Locals have started calling it the two-day city. It's alive on weekends but asleep by Monday morning. Stephen Miller, an economist with UNLV, expresses growing concerns for the rest of the year and the start of 2026 in tourism. In a recent study he conducted, the year-to-date decline in visitation was a sharp 6.5%. What he is seeing is tourism numbers for international travels. International travelers dropping. While this popular tourist hotspot is indeed very big for so many people, I spoke with one visitor who was here in Las Vegas 25 years ago, again last year, and also this current year. And while he says Las Vegas hasn't truly lost its spark, he definitely does see a significant difference. And if he does, so do the hotels and casinos, especially with what they are bringing in revenue-wise. Maybe Vegas is finally waking up to its big mistake. Maybe it finally comprehends that access was never the actual problem. Arrogance clearly was. If you believe the city should bring back $5 tables and free drinks, please hit that like button. Maybe someone inside a boardroom will finally notice. Vegas used to be the great equalizer. A plumber visiting from Phoenix and a lawyer from LA could sit right side by side, facing the same odds, same laughs, same exact drink in hand. That was the unwritten deal. For one single night, everybody mattered. Now what truly happens when a city built entirely on luck just runs out of love? Can Vegas rediscover its soul before it fully turns into a luxury ghost town? If you've ever felt Vegas just isn't the same, please share this story. The more people who talk, the harder it truly becomes for the CEOs to ignore. Vegas wasn't built by billionaires. It was built by everyone who believed in the dream.